Well, Spirit had just said up above that some thoughts can be useful, and so here I am saying, throwing it right back in Spirit's face. Well, you said listening to some thoughts could be useful, right? And Spirit says, sure, they are useful in helping you to see what you still believe. If you didn't still have belief, you wouldn't listen to any thoughts. Listening to some brings feelings up in you. Then you can drop into the feelings and discover true cause, which is not the specific form of the thoughts. It is the source of the thought, the source that created the echo. That is what you are truly still believing. So really what Spirit is saying here is, he's recommending against practicing denial. We have this ability to deny, where if I start noticing that, I'm really hurt, I'm really angry, and I start noticing that I want to attack him, then some thought comes into my mind from spiritual ego that says, but you already let go of hate, remember? When you were going through the code, you let go of hate. You shouldn't be feeling these feelings now. And somehow I squash the thought and the story, but not a letting go. It's a repressing. It's different. The action is different. I'm not letting go of the story because I have no interest in it. I'm not letting go of the story because I think it's meaningless. I'm squashing the story because I'm supposed to be better than this, I'm supposed to be more spiritually advanced than this, or because the story for some reason scares me. So he says it's useful to let a few of these thoughts run. It's useful to recognize I'm having attack thoughts. It's useful to recognize I have thoughts of wanting this to be over. I have thoughts of wanting him to leave, or I have thoughts of wanting to return to our love. It's useful to notice a few of these thoughts, but there's a difference between noticing the thoughts that are in my mind and continuing to walk around listening to them and believing them. Do you see the difference? I want to notice what my mind is thinking. I want to notice what these trigger thoughts are, but I don't want to keep believing them and call that, I know Lisa says let it all come up, right? You can't release it if you don't see it. I don't want to continue to think it and think it and think it with the full power of my belief and say I'm just letting it come up. Spirit says, a little sampling of the thoughts is enough. A little sampling tells you what's going on here. You don't need to stew in these thoughts. So look at the thoughts, right? Notice what's going on. Notice what your head is telling you. And then drop into the feelings. Now, you've noticed the thoughts. Now what you want to do is notice the feelings. So it's different than believing the story. It's different than staying with the story. This is very purposeful. It's almost scientific, So again, thoughts are useful in helping you to see what you still believe, right? If you didn't still have belief, you wouldn't listen to any of these thoughts. But listening to some of them brings up feelings in you, and then you can drop to the feelings and start to discover the true cause, which is not the specific form of the thoughts. The true cause has nothing to do with Laurent moving out of the bedroom, right? We are looking for the true cause of what's going on here, which is not specific to the form of the thoughts. It is the source of the thought. The source that created the echo. That is what you are truly still believing. Now, as Spirit was talking, I was able to do that. I was able to look at my thoughts, look at my feelings, and get down to it. And it, in this case, is rejection, I said. And Spirit said even more, it is rejectability. And the idea that rejection is deserved. Even in accepting the idea of rejectability through fear of rejection, you decide that rejection is deserved. So what Spirit is saying to me here is that the real cause of my suffering is my belief that I am so unworthy, so hideous at the core of my being that I am totally rejectable. That whenever anyone rejects me, it is deserved. And I'm not really upset about what appeared to happen. You know, Laurent getting up and moving out of the bedroom and suddenly hating me and all of that. What's really upsetting me is that I believe I deserve this. And I can even look back in that other circumstance in Berlin, and I can say that that was there too. I didn't look clearly at it, because my mind was caught on the story. My mind was caught on him, what he's doing. He shouldn't, right? But when Spirit took me now to just looking at a sampling of my thoughts, and then moving in the feelings, and I look at the first feeling that comes, and the second feeling that comes, the next, I got to it, it's rejection. And the Spirit just took me down one more level, the level that maybe I wouldn't have gone to quite so quickly by myself. More than rejection, it's rejectability, the belief that you have, that you are totally rejectable. And like I said, I knew, I didn't have to accept this on faith. I could see this as it was being pointed out to me. I didn't have to say, okay, Spirit, I trust you. Somewhere inside I believe I'm totally rejectable. No, I saw it and I knew it. It was a fact. All we had done was see what the true cause of my pain was. I just had a little bit of help to look at what I hadn't been looking at. I'll tell you, all those thoughts running around in my head, not one of those thoughts running around in my head were saying to me, you're hurting because you believe you're rejectable. In fact, maybe you can even hear there's love in that, right? You're hurting because you believe you're rejectable. That's not what these thoughts were saying. You're hurting because Laurent's an abusive asshole. Right? He screwed you over. He should not have done this. They even said, you don't deserve this, right? He doesn't see how good you are. These were the thoughts. Spirit's thought. You're hurting because you believe you're rejectable. That didn't show up until I sat down with Spirit. That was not in my mind. Ego did not throw that ball at me. But when Spirit threw that ball at me, I recognized that that was the truth. That was the bottom line, core truth. And so I said, yes, of course I believe this. Of course I do. It seems to be the deepest thing I believe about myself. But how do I shake a belief that is so firm, especially when it seems I have to face it every day? Now, when Spirit pointed this out to me, I got to tell you, I really did see it as like more than anything else. This is what I believe about me. And it seemed, the belief seemed to be so much a part of me that I couldn't imagine not having it. Like that was just a fact about who I am. It's just something I'm going to have to somehow live with. This belief. Capital B-E-L-I-E-F. That's what it felt like. It actually felt more like this fact than a belief. That I'm just totally rejectable. That there's no reason why anyone should love me. That I might as well be tossed out in the trash.